Now, something that scares me still at this point in time is mortgage rates, okay? We're looking at a 30-year fixed rate of about 7% right now, right? And a year ago, it seemed like it was super high, and that was when it was at 5.5, right? So, real estate continues to be in a very tough place, and as long as real estate's in a tougher place, it's going to definitely hold back the economy somewhat. The economy is always healthiest when the real estate market's in a healthy place. I would not describe the real estate market as being in a healthy place. Prices are very elevated still, and we got these insane mortgage rates. Homes just aren't even affordable right now. So ultimately, how I feel is we're not out of the woods necessarily when it comes to the economy. It's not like I feel like an all clear, like everything's going to be grand from here on out. I think, things are looking pretty good for the next few quarters, but I still have a lot of concerns about 2024 and in the future. So myself, I feel somewhat confident, but I don't feel all the way confident in that, like, oh man, the economy's going to boom like crazy in 24 and 25. Because I look at some of these factors and I'm like, that's bad news, man. That is bad news. When you got a system that is used to having mortgage rates of 3%, and they've had that for 3-4% mortgage rates for 15 plus years, and then you go to 7%, it's awful. It's absolutely awful, and eventually that catches up to you, right? No. Oman put out this 6:02 this morning inside the private group's Discord chat under breaking news, right? JP Morgan announced they just made $14.5 billion in profit on $41 billion of revenue. That's a 35% net profit. That is insane for a competitive industry like banking. By comparison, Google and Apple are at 21%, 25%. The JP Morgan numbers were pretty shocking. They were unbelievable. As a shareholder of JP Morgan, I can tell you I was very happy with those numbers. I think I need to look at this camera now because the other camera shut off. I was very happy, extremely happy. I couldn't have been more happy with JP Morgan earnings. Like if all my other companies report as great numbers as JP Morgan, I'll be a happy camper, okay? Now, the important thing to understand about this for everybody out there, whether you own JP Morgan stock or you don't, is at the end of the day, there's no more important financial institution to pay attention to than JP Morgan. They are the big dog that is the end-all be-all. And if they're in a great place with their numbers, you have some breathing room there for a bit, okay? When we see a company like JP Morgan, if their numbers ever get worse, whether that's at the end of this year or at some point in 2024, you need to start to worry, okay? You need to start to worry about the economy. But for right now, their numbers are extraordinarily great. I went through with the private group today inside the Friday video we do. I went through the numbers in depth. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, absolutely phenomenal numbers across the board. So I was extremely happy with that. Oman also posted this. He said, Jamie Dimon said this: the economy is resilient. Consumer balance sheets are healthy and they're spending, albeit a bit more slowly. Labor markets have softened but remain strong. There are risks in view. Many I've written about this year. Consumers are using up money buffers. Core inflation is stubbornly high. QT, quantitative easing of this scale, has never occurred and fiscal deficits are large, right? And so that's kind of, I mean, Jamie Dimon's sentiment is kind of similar to mine, where it's, we got several different positive things that are going for us, but it's not everything just, perfect. We still got a lot of wariness. And I think that's what's presenting a lot of kind of really good opportunities in this market, because things are still unsure. It's not like everything's going our way in terms of the economy and what's going on there. There's still several things that are what I call scary things that are out there. And what does this mean? What is going to happen here? And I think ultimately that produces you a stock market that is much more interesting to be a long-term investor in than really any other market, because you still get a lot of opportunities. I'm still looking at a lot of dividend stocks, value stocks that are really good opportunities, some growth stocks as well. And so we'll see how obviously all this shakes out, but I would say my sentiment is very similar to kind of Jamie Dimon in this respect, right? Now, while I was working, I was sitting in the chair, sitting in this chair right here, just doing a little work on my computer and whatnot, and all of a sudden, Intuit's CEO came on, and I thought, wow, Intuit's a massive company, and obviously they own the TurboTax product, they own QuickBooks, and many other businesses, so they really have a great insight into how the consumer is doing, how small business is doing, and mid-sized businesses are doing. And I can tell you what the gentleman said. He basically said that things are going pretty good. He didn't have this type of sentiment that was like overwhelmingly bullish, like everything's, the best ever and this is the strongest economy ever and everything's perfect. But he definitely had a sentiment that, things are things are improving or pretty decent for small businesses overall. And I think that's important. In my opinion, it is always like as small businesses go, the United States economy goes. If small businesses are hit substantially like they were in 2022, it's going to hold back the entire stock market. It's going to hold back the entire economy because at the end of the day, those small businesses, man, they're what propel everything. They're the ones that help the mid-sized businesses and the large companies that are public companies to actually reach numbers, right? So I thought that was optimistic. Like I said, he was not overwhelmingly bullish. It was just like the sentiment was more on the bullish side overall for small business and what's going on there and kind of small businesses being in a better place. So overall, I was happy with that. Now, a stock that is certainly no AT&T or Verizon is good old Palantir, PLTR. This stock continues to roll up another 6+% today. 6+%, up another $5,500 in the stock just today in the public count. This stock continues to roll. Now, I'll be quite honest, in regards to Palantir, okay, there's absolutely, positively, no real reason why Palantir should have been up 6+% here today, okay? That stock is just on a roll right now. And it is just more and more folks are finding out about the Palantir story, taking it serious and understanding the opportunity for this company for the next 5-10 years. And more folks are starting to invest in it. You have the run-up prior to S&P 500 inclusion. I think it's becoming more and more apparent as time ticks on that the company's going to get an S&P 500. And I think some people are trying to front run that, right? Because that's going to probably happen either at the end of this year or beginning of 2024. So that's a dynamic that's not going to die down anytime soon. Now, if Palantir comes in, reports very nice earnings, we're 20 plus easy after that. 20 plus in the bank. As long as the earnings come in and they beat all their numbers, they need to beat revenue, they need to crush EPS, they need to beat margins, they need to beat everything across the board and have very strong commentary about guidance. They do that. We're pushing 20 plus, 22, easy after earnings, okay? And that's not even like, that's just child's play at that point in time, okay? Somebody in the private stock group even said, hey, take a look at Upwork, take a look at Fiverr. And I took a look at those stocks, and I got to say, those might even be opportunities. I got to do more digging with Fiverr and Upwork and see if they are. But, those stocks prices have come down immensely, and I got to say, those might even be representing some opportunity in this market. So, just what we've gone through here, right? We're talking about freelance work. We're talking about MJ plays. We're talking about restaurants. We're talking about high-end resort. We're talking about, let's call it transactions. So when you look at all this across the board, there's a lot of different opportunities in this market, right? Even a big dog stock like an Amazon, and I know the stock's gone up a lot this year, this is still a tremendous opportunity. This is still a stock I'm buying, and I'm planning to buy all the way to 150. It's still an opportunity when it comes to Amazing's on. And so I think a lot of people are underestimating the numbers that are going to come out of AWS over the next few years. And when Amazon starts to show reaccelerating growth in AWS, it's the next leg up for that stock. If they show a nice reacceleration of AWS growth or guidance that implies that they're going to see a nice uptick in accelerating AWS growth next quarter, the stock's up 10-15% the next day, if that happens. If they still AWS is not good, we're not planning to be good anytime soon, then, the stock's going to not do much, okay?